Hey guys, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk some 7 Deadly Sins, episode 11. So I've been watching the 7 Deadly Sins anime. It's been really fun for me. As it turned out, I forgot a lot about the earlier stages of this, of the second half of 7 Deadly Sins. Sorry, my words. And I'm having a blast going back through these episodes, and especially episode 11 and episode 10. Those were really powerful moments in 7 Deadly Sins, and I'm happy to see them animated. Like the whole thing with Zivago and Bon. So cool. But anyway, yeah, guys, hey, so I'm just doing videos for 7 Deadly Sins. For those who follow the channel, it's mostly because I know there's a good amount of the subscribers that wanted more 7 Deadly Sins content. So I figured a nice easy thing to do is to just talk about the episodes while I make the longer form content that takes a lot more editing. So yeah, doing the little things while we get the bigger things set up. So the way I'm going to do this video, going to bring back some an old style I used to use, top moments. Pretty much going to highlight my top 5 moments in the episode, what I really enjoyed, use those as talking points, and go from there. I do highly encourage, if you had any other moment that you really enjoyed from the episode, leave it down below. I love seeing what you guys enjoy out of your episodes. So going into it, one of my first top moments, Zivago dying with his son. Now I do think that the manga pulled off this scene better, because there was a certain beauty to it in the manga. I'm looking at the episode again. The big difference is, like, in the episode we had a moving shot, a roaming shot, whereas in the manga we just had the full form of Zivago, just by himself, just his figure in the page. I like the finality in the manga a little bit more, but in this is just an issue of adaptation. Like, this is the best way to show the whole body. It's to do, well, not the best way. You could have also have done a far out shot. But I think this is one of those cases where the manga just probably was set up to do it better, just because of the format of a page. Anyway, the impact of this moment is not missed on me, however. This was a pretty nice treat to get for Bon, and to find out about his history, and to also give this guy, Zivago, some closure as he died. Really awesome. It's a really tender moment, and I'm happy for the character. I'm happy that both characters got to reunite at the last stages of one of their lives. This is pretty cool, pretty badass, and also Bon telling him about the truth about the fairy fountain, also great. The other top moment I really enjoyed was the Jericho moments. Pretty much all of the little ship teasing that we have with Jericho and Bon. I really enjoy this. Jericho presents an interesting case when you get into Bon's relationships, and it's kind of like challenging a theme of staying faithful to a deceased partner versus chasing after new people. If anything, though, Jericho got quite a bit of attention in this episode, and she also got the distinction of being a human that Bon doesn't hate. I did find this funny too, though, because we know that Bon is, he's friendly with the 7 Deadly Sins, but it's also funny to consider that, yeah, the 7 Deadly Sins right now aren't composed of humans. At least Merlin is still unidentified at the time of this episode, but, Meliodas, we know he's a demon. King, we know he's a fairy. Diane, a giantess. That said, Jericho is one of the humans that Bon doesn't hate. I do hope that he extends that distinction over to Elizabeth at the present time. Although if you look at the wording there, Bon does tell Jericho she's the first human that he doesn't hate being around, and we know that he met Jericho first. So there is, like, you could argue, like, he's just talking about in general Jericho was the first person that he didn't hate, even when maybe he was still back in the dungeon. So that was just a cool thing. Moving on to another part of the episode, another moment I really enjoyed, King versus Meliodas. That was a pretty awesome fight, just because we get to see what King can do with his innate power, destruction. Or disaster? I think it's disaster. Sorry, there's a lot of things going on with destruction right now, and I'm getting my words mixed up. Anyway, yeah, disaster. Just seeing the full breadth of what disaster allows King to do is pretty cool. And this is where I really started taking interest in disaster as a power. I like the idea of it, the idea of diminishing or elevating something, and how that could be tied back into nature. I do think the name of the ability kind of undersells what it's actually capable of, because there are good uses of it, technically, and we'll get into that, because that's another part of what I really enjoyed about the episode. There are good uses to it, or there are beneficial uses to it, because we do have Merlin saying that with that power he can clear or allow more trees to grow. So there are those happy little bits to that power. So calling it disaster was definitely something that threw me off in the first half of or calling it disaster threw me off in this episode, or at least when it was the manga for this episode, just because it's different. That said, the King versus Meliodas fight, the one big highlight from there definitely is Meliodas copying King's style and concentrating his demon energy into a ball. That's going to be terrifying if he ever actually uses it, because it's compressed demon energy. Holy shit, man. Anyway, the next thing I really enjoyed, the next top moment, the status promotion and the pain in King's back. So this was a plot point that for the longest time I didn't understand if we were going to ever get touched on again when it came to the manga. And so just recently, actually only when I was watching this episode did I realize what this thing was actually referring to. So what I'm referring to is status promotion. The moment that Meliodas went and full countered status promotion. Because disaster was so weird, I thought, well, man, what if like King develops a tumor? And man, that might still be the case, but that's what I was thinking, right? Status promotion is the power that allows King to make a a cut into a giant wound. So I was just thinking, like, if King has something bad in his body, status promotion just made it worse. And that's, you know, given that he has that pain at the end of the episode, initially I was thinking that. I have come to a different conclusion now about what that pain is, but you know, we still have to give it time to see what actually plays out. That said, it's neat to see status promotion reflected back, and it's neat to see a abstract power countered back at Meliodas. Like, status promotion, we don't know how it travels through the air, so seeing that Meliodas countered it was a pretty novel piece for the episode. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, status promotion and the pain in King's back. I wonder how many episodes till we get a confirmation on what that actually refers to. Anyway, it also does kinda bring up the question whether or not status promotion, if King can even use status promotion on himself naturally. I do wonder that. So guys, what do you think? Do you think status promotion, the effect that hit King, do you think it's a beneficial effect, or do you think it's going to be a maligned effect? You know, like, what do you think? Is it going to be good or bad? Let me know down below if you feel so inclined. And finally, the last moment that I really enjoyed is obviously the beatdown that Meliodas gives. Look, man, there's a certain level of badassery that you get your power back, and the first thing you do is you go and beat up the other guys. This is where we begin the tug of war between the Ten Commandments and the Seven Deadly Sins. There's going to be a constant just one-upping each other, and it's going to make for a very interesting flow. We're going to end up having a flow that not many other manga have when it comes to the power dynamics between two groups. So I like it for what it is. I like it that it's the start of it, and I love seeing Galen get beat up and get thrown around. Again, there is the badassery of being there for a few seconds and then having Merlin teleport. Although at this point, it also does point out that to some degree, the Sins have very strong utility powers. Like, Merlin being able to do that is a game changer in and of itself. Like, right now, when you look at the Sins, definitely Meliodas and Merlin, you can definitely argue they are in the top tiers of the Seven Deadly Sins. And then people like King, who have powers that just affect things on some kind of absolute basis, like status promotion, they make for very interesting dynamics when it comes to the battles. But anyway, guys, those are my top moments. What are yours? Let me know down below, and let's end it there. Till next time, I hope you have a great day.